Welcome students for today's lecture. So we are in the second unit, that is phase controlled converter, and today's topic is 2 pulse full control converter with RL load and RLE load. So in the previous lecture we have seen about the applications of adjustable DC power, and then what is AC to DC converter and its types, that is uncontrolled and controlled type. And then we walk through the operation of a single phase uncontrolled bridge rectifier with resistive load, and then single phase full controlled rectifier with resistive load, with the waveform and the derivation of average and RMS output voltage and current. So these are the things we have seen in our previous lecture. So today we're gonna see single phase full control rectifier, but with the uh, load of RL, that is resistive and inductive load, and then RLE, resistor load, inductor load, and then battery. So this is the difference between our previous lecture and today's lecture. So this is a circuit diagram of our single phase full converter with RL load. So first of all we have a AC source Vs. So Vs is equal to Vm sin omega t, the source current of Is. So we have 4 thyristor T1, T2, T3 and then T4. The gate pulses Ig1, Ig2, Ig3 and then Ig4. So and we have the load series connection of resistor and then inductor. So here I0 is our load current and V0 is our output DC voltage. So the main aim was to convert the AC power into DC power. So in a controlled converter, the output DC power is adjustable or else controllable. So by varying the triggering pulses of any 2 pairs of thyristor, let's say we saw in this lecture, like R load. So we triggered T1, T2, and then for one half cycle, and T3, T4 for another half cycle. By varying the triggering point, we can vary the output DC power. And one thing here, the thyristor name, that is T1, T3, T4, T2, it's of this is nothing but a naming convention. This is not a standard one. Here this must be a T1, this must be the naming convention is of your choice and it is of your understanding. So since we are triggering the alternate legs, so I am taking this one as a T1 and this one as a T2 and this one as a T3 and this one as a T4. So the naming convention is of your choice. Okay. So during the positive half cycle, so here this point will be positive and this point will be negative. So the anode voltage of T1 will be greater than the cathode voltage. Similarly, anode voltage of T2 will be greater than cathode voltage of T2. So T1 and T2 will be forward bias during the positive half cycle. It won't contact. Okay, it won't contact until we trigger the gate pulse for T1 and T2. Let us assume we are giving a triggering pulse for T1 and T2. Then it will start conduct. The current will flow from supply voltage through T1 and again it will flow through R and L load. Then it move to T2 and it will reach the supply at the neutral point. So this is the flow diagram. So here T3 and T4 will be in off condition. So because based on the line voltage, these two are getting reverse biased. So our circuit will be, that is the rearranging the component, the circuit will be like this. So current will flow from T1 R L and T2 and again to source. Now we're gonna see about the waveform. So this is our input AC voltage waveform. So here we are applying triggering pulse for positive half cycle. So here I have drawn a sine wave for 2 cycle. So from 0 to 2 pi and then 2 pi to 4 pi. For each positive cycle we are applying a triggering pulse at alpha. So at alpha we are applying a triggering pulse. So before applying any pulse or to any thyristor. Let us assume whether it is T1, T2 or T3, T4. So that will be 0 voltage across the output because there is no conduction at all. So here it will be 0 and the load current also will be 0. So whenever you apply a firing pulse at alpha, so your thyristor will start conducting like this. So we draw the circuit, right? So if you saw the previous circuit, you can see. So here the supply voltage is directly parallel to your output voltage. So the Vs will be directly appear on V0. So here the output will follow the same voltage waveform of your input. Okay, so this will flow till the angle is pi. So in the R load, till value of pi, the ACR will get conduct, but after the interval pi, the resistor current will get negative, so it get turned off automatically. So this is what we saw in the previous lecture with R load. But here we have inductive load. So inductor has a capability of storing the energy. So it will store the energy and it will discharge the energy, but it won't do anything suddenly. So it will discharge the energy gradually. So what here will happen is the inductor will start discharging. Okay. So before going that, this is the load current. So once your ACR start conducting, the current will get increased to this point. So after this point, your inductor will get discharged. So there will be a decrease in current, but the value of the current is not lower than the holding current. So yesterday we saw a topic called holding current. Holding current is nothing but the current value below which your ACR will get turned off. So here, because of the inductor, there will be some flow of current to run through T2 and T1. So which will make a negative voltage across V0. So the waveform will be like this. So after pi, the ACR will conduct. So it will conduct the negative voltage of your input. Why is because the inductor current will gradually decrease and it will reach a certain point for the turn off of your T1 and T2. So this is what happening in positive off cycle. So if you are having a pure resistive load, there won't be any negative spikes or negative voltage in the output waveform. Since we are having the inductive load, the current is gradually flowing through T1 and T2, which result in a negative voltage across the load. So that is this point. So here the another thing is here the alpha, that is the firing angle we have taken is less than 90 degrees. So we are this point will be 90 degrees. So we are choosing a firing angle which is less than 90 degrees. So just make note of it. I will let you know why we are choosing the firing angle less than 90 degree in upcoming slides. So next one. So during negative off cycle, so based on your line voltage and the holding current, T1 and T2 get turned off and T3 and T4 get forward bias, right? So T3 and T4 get forward bias. So if you apply a gate trigger impulse, T3 and T4 will start conducting the current. So the current will flow from phase to T3, from T3 to load, from load to T4, from T4 to neutral, that is full point of your source. So if you redraw the circuit like this, you can see the current flow is from source to T3, then load, then T4, then to source. So the voltage appearing in the source is directly parallel to the load. So it will share the same voltage. Here Vs is equal to V0, or simply you can say V0 is equal to Vs. So if you see the graph, so this is for positive off cycle. For the negative off cycle, we will trigger after an interval of 180 degree. So for the positive off cycle, we trigger the firing angle at alpha. that is at this point. In the previous graph we have seen, right? So after 180 degree interval means the new firing angle will be at pi plus alpha, and here it will 3 pi plus alpha. So at this point the ACRs T3 and T4 start conducting, and it will follow the your input waveform, but it in, so because here you can see here the Vs point is negative and here it is positive, but the output voltage we are measuring is this point is positive and this point is negative. So it will get rectified and we will get a positive voltage across the output, and there will be a gradual increase in your load current, that is your inductors start getting charged. So there is a gradual increase in the load current due to the increase in the output voltage. So it will flow, or it will follow the input voltage, sorry, the rectified of your input voltage till 2 pi. So after 2 pi, so we have a positive form or else positive off cycle. So as of based on the normal concept, so now T3 and T4 have to be turned off, and T1 and T2 have to be forward bias. But due to the presence of inductor, it will gradually current through the inductor will gradually get decreased, and which will flow through T3 and T4, which makes a negative voltage across the output. So we will get a negative voltage like this till T3 and T4 get turned off, else till the current reach the value less than your holding current. So at this point again we will trigger the thyristor T1 and T2, and this will, the waveform will follow the next pattern. So this is an operation of your full converter with RL load. So this is a pattern for your positive cycle, and this is one for negative cycle. So this pattern will get repeated for each cycle. So this is the overall waveform. So this is a triggering pulse for T1 and T2, and this is the triggering pulse for T3 and T4. So we started from alpha and we have seen till 2 pi plus alpha. So in the previous slide, so we didn't focus on this point. So if the cycle is repeating means, so this point clearly shows that is a conducting point of T3 and T4. Then this point will be conducting point of T3 and T4. So before alpha, your thyristor T3 and T4 will conduct, so which will result in a negative voltage, and this point we will trigger in T1 and T2. That's why we are getting a negative voltage at the point 0 to alpha. So here this area, so from alpha to pi and pi to pi plus alpha, at this 2 point thyristor T1 and T2 is turned on. Okay, and at this 2 point from pi plus alpha to 2 pi and 2 pi to 2 pi plus alpha, at this 2 point thyristor T3 and T4 will turn on. So this cycle will get repeated. That's why this point will be turn on of your thyristor T3 and T4. So this is a voltage across thyristor T1, T2 and T3, T4 when they are in off condition. So from 0 to alpha, thyristor T3 and T4 are turned on. So the voltage across it will be 0. At this point, T1 and T2 is in off condition, so it will follow the voltage of your input. So this is the point. And from alpha to pi plus alpha, T1 and T2 is turned on. So the voltage across T1 and T2 will be 0. So at this point, T3 and T4 are in off condition, so it will follow the negative voltage of your input, and at this point it will follow the same negative voltage of your input. So here it is negative, so we are getting a positive. Similarly, it will follow for pi plus alpha to 2 pi plus alpha for T1, T2 and T3, T4. So now moving to average DC output voltage. So our aim was to find the expression for average DC output voltage. So here we will take the interval from alpha to pi plus alpha, because this is a shape which is repeating throughout the cycle. So can take this one as a repeating shape. So I'm taking this as an area, and if you take the time period, it will be from 0 to pi. So clearly speaking, this point will from 0 to pi, the shape will getting repeated. Anyhow, this area and this area will be equal. That's why for the purpose of simple integration, I am taking the interval from alpha to pi plus alpha instead of 0 to pi. If you are taking 0 to pi, it will be much complex. So I am taking the interval as alpha to pi plus alpha. So our aim was to find the area in the shaded portion. Okay, for the average DC output voltage. For the average voltage, the formula will be area of the waveform divided by the time period. So here the time period is 0 to pi. The waveform is from alpha to pi plus alpha Vm sin omega t d omega t, because here we are taking the x-axis omega t. So we are integrating with respect to d omega t. So here Vm is constant, so we can take it out. So just integrating sin omega t, we will get the values minus cos omega t. So just substitute the substitute the limit, lower limit and upper limit. So it will be minus cos of pi plus alpha minus of minus cos alpha. So the expression will be like this: Vm by pi minus cos of pi plus alpha plus cos alpha. So we have to expand this expression, that is cos pi plus alpha. This is a formula of cos A plus B. So everyone know cos A plus B is equal to cos A cos B minus sin A sin B. So just we are expanding the term and substitute the values. So instead of A we are substituting pi, and instead of B we are substituting alpha. So cos pi cos alpha minus sin pi sin alpha. So the formula is this one: cos A plus B is equal to cos A cos B minus sin A sin B. A is equal to pi, B is equal to alpha. So here sin pi is equal to 0. So this term will eliminated. So because the value is 0. So for cos pi it is minus 1. So minus 1 into minus, it will be plus. So the answer will be Vm by pi cos alpha plus cos alpha. So the final answer will be 2 Vm by pi into cos alpha. So this is the expression for your average DC output voltage. So here just note, so 2 Vm by pi, this is a positive value. So whether the output is positive or negative is decided by cos alpha. So if I am substituting alpha is equal to 0, the value will be 2 Vm by pi. If I am substituting alpha is equal to 90 degree, the value will be 0, because cos 90 is equal to 0. So if I am substituting alpha is equal to 180 degree, so cos 180 is minus 1. So the output voltage will be minus 2 Vm by pi. So what we can say is, if your alpha is less than 90 degree, the output voltage will be positive. If your alpha is greater than 90 degree, your output voltage will be negative. Just substitute any value of alpha from 91 to 180, you will get values negative. So that's why in the previous slides for the graph I have mentioned alpha is less than 90 degree. So let us take a look on output graph when the alpha is greater than 90 degree. So this is a output graph if you choose the firing angle as a greater than 90 degree. So this point will be 90 degree, pi by 2. So I am choosing a firing angle at this point. So only at this point the thyristor T1 and T2 get turned on. So at this point T1 and T2 gets turned on, it will start conducting at this point. But due to the presence of inductor, there will be a gradual decreasing in current to reaching the holding point. So again T1 and T2 will start conduct and the output will be negative. So at this point we will trigger the thyristor T3 and T4. So it will start conducting. So it will start conducting, it will get a rectified output. So this part will be positive. After this part, so the waveform is positive half cycle. So since we have an inductive load, so T3 and T4 will start again. It will continue the conduction, but it will in a negative manner. So the voltage will be negative. So if you just look at the area where T1 and T2 and T3 and T4 are conducting means, so at this point and this area from alpha to pi plus alpha, T1 and T2 are on. From pi plus alpha to 2 pi plus alpha, T3 and T4 are on. So if you look at this area, so this is the area when T3 and T4 are conducting. So you can see the output current is getting decreased. So decreasing means, so resistor T3 and T4 have to be turned off, but due to the inductor presence, it is just conducting the negative voltage. So this is the area where T1 and T2 conducting, and this is the area where T3 and T4 conducting. Simply you can see when your firing angle is greater than 90 degree, most of the output voltage is in the negative area. So for a full converter, if you take a full converter, it will control the DC output voltage in both positive and negative. So the voltage can be positive value or else it can be negative value. So just concluding the points seeing before that, this is the voltage across thyristor when they are in off position. So you can see, so at this point from 0 to alpha, T3 and T4 are conducting. So T1 and T2 are in off condition. So it will follow the input voltage. So at this point it is getting turned on. So from alpha to pi plus alpha, the voltage across thyristor 1 and 2 is 0. Similarly, 0 to alpha, thyristor T3 and T4 is conducting. So the voltage is 0. At this point it start disconnecting or else it's turned off. So there will be a voltage across T3 and T4. So this is the voltage across T3 and T4, and this is the voltage across T1 and T2 in the off condition. So concluding the point we have seen in the previous slides, so we can vary the firing angle from 0 to 180 because just triggering the pulses for every half cycle. So for half cycle the angle is 180 degree. So we can vary the average output voltage from positive maximum to negative maximum. If you take the positive maximum, it will be Vm by 2 pi, 2 Vm by pi. If you take the negative maximum, it will be minus 2 Vm by pi. So here you can see the most of the graphs, our load current is always positive and it is always continuous. Okay, so even the alpha is greater than 90 or less than 90, if you see the previous slides, the output current is always positive, that is unidirectional, and it is continuous. That is our main assumption. So from alpha to pi, both the output voltage and output current are positive. Okay, so this is for value alpha less than 90 degree. For less than 90 degree, if you take from alpha to pi, both output voltage and output current are positive. Okay, so power is transferred from source to load. That is, so we are dealing about this point. From alpha to pi, the voltage is positive and current is positive. So the power is transferred from source to load. But from pi to pi plus alpha, this point your output voltage is negative, but your output current is positive. Anyhow, the output power will be negative. So at this point, the power will be transferred from load to source. Okay, so that's why we have mentioned in the slide. So from pi to pi plus alpha, output voltage is negative and output current is positive. So here it is not both. Okay, so this is a mistake. So just I am striking this point. Okay, this is not both. The output voltage is negative. So here the power is transferred from load to source. But if you taking the net power means the total power from alpha to pi plus alpha, it will be positive because the area occupied by alpha to pi was much high compared to the area occupied by pi to pi plus alpha. So net power will be positive, hence the power will flow from AC source to a DC load. So when the firing angle is less than 90, the converter will act as a rectifier. Okay. So if the firing angle is greater than 90, that is alpha is greater than 90, so you can see, so the output voltage is negative from the 0.02 alpha, and it is positive from alpha to pi. So the net power, if you see the net voltage, the area from 0 to alpha is much high compared to the area alpha to pi. So the net voltage of the output is negative for the interval for the firing angle greater than 90. So output voltage is negative and output current is positive. So the net power is negative. Here the power is transferred from load to source. Okay, from load it is giving the power to the source. So here we are telling our converter is acting as an inverter, that is line commutator inverter. So this is a special condition for a full converter. The full converter can act as a converter or inverter based on the firing angle provided. Okay, so you can simply say it operated in both first quadrant, this your current is positive, voltage is positive, and in fourth quadrant your current is positive but your voltage is negative. So full converter can act for two quadrant operation. Okay, so coming to RLE load, so this is similar to your RL load, but here the only difference is we are adding another factor as E, that is E is nothing but an voltage source or a battery, or you can simply take as a DC motor with the back EMF of E. Okay, so the only condition is during the rectifier mode of operation, that is from the firing angle alpha less than 90 degree, the main condition is your output should be greater than the EMF voltage. Okay, that is V0 should be greater than E. That's the one condition. Okay, for the inverter mode of operation, that is your firing angle greater than 90 degree. In that condition, E will be greater than V0. Okay, so in that situation, so E will feed power to the source. Okay, so for the inverter operation, already I told, right? We will transfer power from load to source. Here the power will be transferred by the EMF E. So this is similar to the regenerative braking mode operation in DC motor. You can simply replace the E by motor, means during the inverter mode of operation it will be the back EMF produced by the DC motor that will supply the source. So the waveform for RLE load is similar to the waveform for R and L load, and even the average DC output voltage also same for both RL and RLE load. Okay, only difference is the condition for your E during the rectifier mode of operation and inverter mode of operation. Okay, so in today's lecture we have gone to the operation of single phase full converter with RL load, both rectifier mode of operation and then inverter mode of operation, that is firing angle less than 90 degree and greater than 90 degree, and then what is the difference between RL load and then RLE load. Okay, so in the next class we will see about the semi converter, or else half controlled converter. So we have got the single phase full control converter. In the next lecture we will see about the single phase half controlled, what is the difference between full control and half controlled converters. Okay, thank you guys.